$10,000. Not a fantasy number, not a billionaire's rounding error. 10,000. Real money. Hard-earned. Finite. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people who get their hands on it will quietly destroy it within 5 years. Not with one catastrophic mistake. That would be easier to spot. But slowly, rationally, confidently. Fees. Trends. Opportunities. A few well-timed bad decisions dressed up as smart ones, and by the end, they won't even know where it went. Now here's the stranger part. There is a man who built one of the largest fortunes in history, doing almost nothing most of the time. No trading frenzy, no predictions, no secret algorithm, just patience, simplicity, and an almost stubborn refusal to be clever. So if you had $10,000 today, what would it actually mean to invest it like Warren Buffett? And more importantly, why is that so hard for almost everyone to do? Because this isn't really about money. It's about resisting a system designed to make you feel smart, right before it takes your capital. Let's start where most people begin. You have $10,000. You open an app, clean interface, charts moving, numbers blinking. It feels like control. You scroll through top gainers. You see stocks up 12%, 20%, 50%. You think, I just need one of those, and right there, before you've invested a single dollar, you've already stepped into the game Buffett refuses to play, because that game is built on one quiet assumption, that the purpose of investing is to be right. Buffett doesn't try to be right. He tries to be consistent. There's a difference, and it's expensive to ignore. Let's rewind. Imagine it's 1965. You have $10,000 then. Same situation. Different world. Buffett is buying entire businesses, or parts of them, based on a very simple idea. What is this thing actually worth? If nobody quoted a price for it tomorrow? That question sounds obvious, but almost nobody asks it, because the market constantly answers a different question for you. What is this worth right now? And that's the trap. The price is loud. Value is quiet. The price updates every second. Value changes slowly, sometimes invisibly. So, step 1, if you're investing like Buffett with $10,000 today, is almost absurdly simple. You stop asking what's going up, and you start asking what's worth owning. Not trading. Owning. There's a psychological shift there that most people never make. Owning means you're willing to sit through boredom. Owning means you expect nothing to happen tomorrow. Owning means you're okay looking wrong for a while. That alone eliminates about 90% of what people call investing. Now let's get practical. You've got $10,000. What would Buffett actually do? He's answered this question many times, and his answer is almost disappointing in its simplicity. A low-cost index fund. That's it. No exotic strategies. No hand-picked basket of hot stocks. Just a fund that tracks the overall market. Something like the S&P 500. Why? Because it quietly solves a problem most investors underestimate. You don't need to be smarter than the market. You just need to avoid being worse than it. And statistically, most people are worse. Not because they're unintelligent, because they interfere. They buy when things feel safe, after prices rise. They sell when things feel dangerous, after prices fall. They pay fees for advice that often lags the market itself. They confuse activity with progress. So the index fund does something radical. It removes you from the decision-making loop. It says, you don't get to outguess the system, you just participate in it. And historically, that has been enough. But this is where people start to get uncomfortable. Because $10,000 in an index fund doesn't feel like a move. It feels like waiting. And waiting is not what the financial world sells. The system around you is engineered for motion. News cycles, analyst upgrades, breaking insights. Every headline whispers the same thing. Do something. Now. Buffett's approach says the opposite. Do almost nothing. For a long time. That tension is where most people lose. Let's talk about the math that makes this work. Because this is where it stops sounding philosophical and starts becoming mechanical. Compounding. It's a word people hear constantly and rarely understand, not conceptually, but emotionally. So let's put numbers to it. $10,000. Assume a modest 8% annual return. Not spectacular. Historically reasonable. Year 1, $10,800. Year 5, about $14,700. Year 10, roughly $21,600. Year 20, about $46,600. Year 30, over $100,000. Same $10,000. No additional effort, no timing. Just time itself doing the work. But here's the part that feels almost unfair. Most of that growth doesn't happen in the early years. It happens later. The curve bends slowly, then sharply, which means the hardest part isn't picking the investment. It's staying invested long enough to let the math become visible. And this is where reality collides with human behavior, because along that 30-year path, something will happen. Actually, many things. Markets will crash. Headlines will scream. Friends will brag about faster gains elsewhere. You'll see something double in 6 months and feel like you're missing out. This is where the strategy breaks. Not because it stops working, but because you stop following it. Buffett's real edge isn't intelligence. It's temperament. He doesn't react. And that sounds simple until you're watching your $10,000 drop to $8,000, then $7,000. Because now it's not a number anymore. It's doubt. Did I make a mistake? Should I get out before it gets worse? That's the moment the system is designed for. Because when you sell in fear, someone else buys in patience. And over time, that transfer of conviction becomes a transfer of wealth. Let's address the obvious objection. If it's this simple, why doesn't everyone do it? Because simple is not the same as easy. Simple means the instructions are clear. Easy means you'll actually follow them. And most people won't, because they want control. They want to feel involved. They want the story of being the one who picked the winner. Buffett removes that story. He replaces it with something quieter. Consistency beats brilliance. Now, there's a twist here. Buffett himself doesn't just buy index funds. He buys individual companies. So why doesn't he recommend that for you? Because he understands something most people don't admit. There are two games happening at the same time. One is investing, the other is competing. If you pick individual stocks, you're not just investing. You're competing against professionals, people with teams, data access, experience, and time. You're playing a game where the average participant underperforms the market. So Buffett's advice is almost protective. He's saying, don't enter a game where the odds are quietly against you. Just own the whole thing. Let's zoom out, because $10,000 today exists in a very different world than it did in 1965. Information is instant. Trading is frictionless. Everyone has access, which sounds like an advantage, but it comes with a hidden cost: noise. There has never been more information and less clarity. Every opinion has a platform. Every prediction sounds urgent. And the more you consume, the more you feel like you should act. Buffett operates in near silence. He reads. He waits. He decides slowly. That's not an accident. It's a defense mechanism against a system that profits from your attention. Because here's another uncomfortable truth. The financial industry doesn't make money when you sit still. It makes money when you move. Trades, fees, products, advice. Every layer benefits from your activity. So a strategy that requires you to do less quietly conflicts with an industry that needs you to do more. That's the irony. The most effective approach is also the least marketable. You can't sell patience in a push notification. You can't package discipline as breaking news, so instead, you're sold complexity. Because complexity feels valuable, even when it isn't. Now let's get even more concrete. You have $10,000. You decide to invest it like Buffett recommends. You put it into a low-cost index fund. And then, nothing. No adjustments. No panic selling. No chasing trends. What actually happens next? Year 1. Probably nothing interesting. Year 2. Still nothing. Year 3. Maybe a dip. Maybe a recovery. At some point, a crisis hits. It always does. Markets drop. Maybe sharply. Your 10,000 becomes 8, maybe 6. This is the moment most people reinterpret their strategy. They say, "This isn't working." But what's actually happening is the system functioning exactly as it always has. Volatility is not a bug. It's the price of admission. And Buffett understands this at a fundamental level. He doesn't see drops as failures. He sees them as temporary mispricings, opportunities even, but only if you don't exit the game. Now let's contrast that with the alternative path. Same $10,000. But instead of patience, you choose optimization. You pick a few stocks, maybe some trending sectors. You get lucky early, you're up 20%. You feel validated, you take bigger bets. Then something shifts, a downturn, a bad earnings report, a market rotation. You hesitate, you hold too long, or you sell too late, or you chase the next idea to recover losses, and slowly your decisions become reactive instead of deliberate. Not because you lack intelligence, because you're inside the feedback loop. And that loop is designed to amplify emotion. This is where Buffett's strategy shows its real strength. It doesn't just optimize for returns, it protects you from yourself. Now here's the part most people don't want to hear. $10,000 invested perfectly will not change your life overnight. It won't feel dramatic. It won't give you a story to tell next week. But over decades, it becomes something else, a foundation. And that's what Buffett has always built, not quick wins, enduring systems. Because when you zoom out far enough, investing stops being about beating others and starts being about aligning with something bigger. Economic growth, human productivity, time itself. You're not trying to outsmart the market, you're trying to stay in it long enough for it to work, and that requires a different kind of confidence, not loud confidence, quiet conviction, the kind that doesn't need constant validation. So we come back to the original question. You have $10,000. Do you want to feel like an investor, or do you want to be one? Because those are not the same thing. One is exciting, active, constantly engaging. The other is mostly invisible. Boring, even, until it isn't. Until enough time passes that the results speak for themselves. And by then, the difference is no longer theoretical. It's measurable and irreversible. So here's the unresolved part. In a world that rewards speed, noise, and constant action, can you commit to a strategy that depends on the opposite? Can you ignore the signals designed to pull you away? Can you hold something that doesn't need your attention to work? Because the math is clear. The strategy is simple. The evidence is overwhelming. And yet, most people will still choose the harder path, not because it works better, because it feels better, at least in the beginning. And in investing, the beginning is almost always misleading. So the real question isn't what you should do with $10,000. It's whether you can tolerate the version of success that comes with doing almost nothing at all.